Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode 292. My name's Adam Patterson. I'm joined today by Kevin Rakestraw. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good.
Nice. Good to hear that.
Yes.
This week on the show, we'll be talking about Ari Aster's Hereditary, along with someone we've been watching on the watch list, including my thoughts on Hotel Artemis that came out this week.
Ooh.
Previewing some new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just two housekeeping things this week. Ryan Watches Movies should be back again. I know that we've been inconsistent with that, but we had one last week. We're having one this week, so hopefully we're back on a good schedule with that. The new Film Pulse Selects film is out now. You can watch it. It's called Mommy Moments. It's a short film. Highly recommend checking that out on the site. You can go to filmpulseselects.com for that, or just go to our regular site at filmpulse.net. And I want to thank our latest patron, Aurora. Thank you for becoming a patron. If you want to help support Film Pulse, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/filmpulse. And give us some shekels, and we'll you can get early access to our Film Pulse Selects titles and lots of other good stuff. Plus, you'll just be helping us out, and we appreciate that. I think we can go ahead and dive in to our Hereditary review here. As I said, this is directed by Ari Aster. It's also written by Ari Aster. It stars Toni Collette, Millie Shapiro, Gabriel Byrne, and Alex Wolff. I have a synopsis here. When the matriarch of the Graham family passes away, her daughter's family begins to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry. Kevin, I think we'll start it with you. What did you think of Hereditary?
It took quite some time to get where it wanted to go. And I found that extremely frustrating. To me, it felt as though he had one sequence that he just had fully realized, and he knew everything that he wanted to do within that sequence. But in order to get there, he just really didn't have any idea. And we just kind of fucking wander around until we finally get there. And yes, it's well realized, it's well executed, but holy shit, the lead up to that is just, it's borderline mind-numbing, I found.
I can kind of understand that theory. I don't agree with it. I thought that the slow build up, it worked for me. Just because I felt this mounting dread the whole time. I was like on the edge of my seat the whole time. I was like, oh my God, like something's going to happen. I know it. What does that mean? Cause there's they drop all these little clues, and that was enough to keep me hanging on as the buildup occurred.
And see, that's the thing that maybe, it's just how, people experience things, but to me, there was no dread. There was no tension. Like there I had nothing. Like for me, I was just kind of sitting there like, are we going to do something? Or
I was so unnerved throughout the whole thing. I was just so unnerved. Like because I just knew things were beginning to fall apart. And but also, like, you say, like, there's this slow buildup, but something happens near the beginning of the movie. A shocking, absolutely shocking event occurs towards the beginning.
I mean, that
you don't see coming.
No, I did not expect that.
Holy shit!
I did not expect that. But it's for me. Yes, that was shocking. But at the same time, I feel as though that, like, all of those events, the events leading up to that shocking moment, I just thought were really poorly handled and just poorly executed. Wherein the stuff, the thing that I'm talking about that is well executed to me is the ending. to me, that was just, there's a huge shift there for me. I just, like, yes, it was shocking, but to me, it was just, like, the crafting of that moment was just kind of ridiculous.
We might have to dive a little bit deeper into that and get into some spoilers.
Yeah,
with this one.
yeah. I mean,
I think also the ending is worth discussing. So yeah, we might do a spoiler section for this movie.
And I felt kind of, and I mean, that's another thing with the ending, which again, I don't know how much, like what is a spoiler.
I think anything that's not in the trailer, I think would be, especially anything that happens towards that ending moment. I can say, I think I can talk about one of my favorite shots, like specific shots that would not be a spoiler, that occurs in it. And it's towards that sort of culminating moment, but there's this sequence where Toni Collette she wakes up and there's all these ants in her bed.
Mm-hmm.
That scene, the end of that scene where there is like fire that lights up, and as soon as like the fire sort of engulfs the screen, it transitions to like another scene, the next scene. And I felt that was just so well crafted, how it almost, like, the scare moment almost plays with your eyes, and the fact that like your eyes adjusting from darkness to light. And I really liked how that played out. I thought that was a really interesting moment.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not, it wasn't completely devoid of some noteworthy. I mean, to me, there's Toni Collette, I think, is fantastic in this. I think she's just phenomenal. So you got that going on. That at least kept me invested through this long build-up that to me was just kind of unnecessary. It just really felt like he never knew when to, like, kick it in, the shift the gear into what he really wanted to do. I did like how you kind of said that, like, this, how they kind of play with light, how there would be like a shot of the outside of the house with the surrounding trees, and it would just like snap from night to daytime. There was some interesting things with Toni Collette being this artist that kind of works on these miniature like dioramas type deals, and the way that they would kind of play with focus and scale, where there was actual scenes that looked like they were miniature. There was times when the camera was focused on the outside of the house with the surrounding trees and everything, and it looked as though it was a miniature version of that. Like, I couldn't tell if it was actually the house or if it was a miniature set that they created.
Yeah, and I mean, even the opening, the opening scene, the opening shot, it starts with a slow zoom in of the miniature house, and we go in, and then we see, I think that was Gabriel Byrne entering the room, and we realize, like, okay, we just did a seamless transition from a model to a real room, and that was really well done.
Yeah, I mean, there's things there. There was some of the quote unquote themes that, I mean, they're kind of linked into the title of this movie. To me, they felt just extremely bullshit. Like, it's just, there's nothing there, especially with the shift that it takes towards the end, where it takes a sharp right turn, and it's like everything beforehand just, again, that's one of those things where I'm like, it's kind of a spoiler to get into it, fully, or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I was pretty into everything as far as like the reasoning behind all of this stuff, but It was definitely my kind of horror movie as well. I really enjoyed the tension building and the fact that the scares and the horror elements were not really derived from jump scares. There were a few maybe here and there jump scares, but the film did not rely on them to give you that.
No, and
that horror.
That was nice. That was refreshing. Even though I didn't really, like I said before, I didn't really have that sense of dread or anything. I mean, at least it didn't take the easy way out.
Everything was sort of based around atmosphere and using the camera in interesting ways, like playing with focus. The camera plays with focus a lot to, you see something in the background and it maybe will pull focus onto that or something in the foreground or switch back and forth. And then you have a lot of like just really shocking visuals in this too. I mean, I think when we talk about the slow build up and things like that, people may think that there's not a lot of shocking moments that happen in this movie, but there's some really seriously horrific things that happen in this movie. It gets pretty extreme in some moments.
The thing that kind of I thought was surprising for me is like years ago, Colin Stetson does the score for this movie, and years ago, when I heard Colin Stetson's music, I was like, someone needs to utilize this guy to score a horror movie. Like it's just perfect, because for me, listening to his music, it instantly fills me with a sense of dread, and it makes me really tense and anxious. It's really unsettling to me. So going into this, I was thinking like, oh man, here we go. Because I get that just from listening to the music. And now you're going to couple it with actual images. This is going to be fantastic. But to me, it was surprising that it didn't work. It just didn't work for me. I never felt a sense of dread. I've never felt this like impending doom, this atmospheric horror to it. It felt like we were doing nothing for so long.
Man, that's a shame that it didn't work for you, because I was really into it. I mean, the mouth clicking that didn't give you any kind of unease, didn't make you feel creeped out a little bit. Mouth clicking,
not really.
I thought that daughter was so creepy.
I mean, I don't know. It felt there's a lot of angles to it. Angles is a poor choice of words, but there's a lot of things to it that it felt kind of gross to me, which was the first shocking moment. It kind of felt gross. And then this whole like tying in like mental illness to what's going on, that felt kind of gross.
Well, that actually makes me think of the only like thing that maybe the only thing that I was not a big fan of in this was Gabriel Byrne's character. I thought that he was underdeveloped, but he was also, I felt like he was not a very supportive husband / father. Like he didn't do anything. Like he didn't do enough.
It's interesting that you said that, because I never really thought about his character too much.
Yeah, he was underwritten and played such a non-role.
But there also is that there's a couple of decisions that he makes. It just seems kind of odd, where there's a phone call that he gets like after the initial service of the matriarch passing away, which just felt kind of bizarre choice on how you handled that. And then there's the like where he just kind of gets, he seems to get really quickly frustrated with his wife, and he's just really pissed off, which just kind of came out of nowhere, where it was just like, what?
Because in the beginning, there were no indications to us that they had anything but a healthy, loving relationship.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it seems like they're not even a married couple. They're just like he's just dealing with her.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't on board with his actions or him as a character. I thought we needed more from him, and I understand that they were using him as sort of a conduit to the whole mental illness angle, where he's like, he just assumes that Toni Collette's character is mentally ill because she has a history of it. But still, when you see what he sees, come on, dude. Like, you can't. This isn't one of these movies where we're like, are they crazy? Like, no, we see, and he as a character sees that there is something supernatural happening here. Like, there is something going on.
Yeah, there's really no but it's pretty clear cut.
I think the moral of the story here is trust your spouse, or else very bad things will happen to you.
Especially when there's just clear cut evidence in front of you. Like, you don't even really have to trust her anymore at that point. I mean, you're seeing it yourself.
Yeah,
you can just trust your own eyes at that point.
Yeah, I'm. It sucks that this didn't really gel with you, because man, I thought it was great.
I mean, it's not 100% that it didn't gel with me. It's just, I think that there's some moments and there's some elements to this movie that are just, I think, are fantastic. And then there's a lot of other stuff in there that is just bad. Just really bad. And it just kind of evens out, kind of balances out to me, and we're like a kind of like a middle ground. Because I did love the end. When it finally committed to something, I was like, yes, I like this. I like where you're going too.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute.
Because things escalate, and I was happy that things were finally starting to happen.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we talk spoilers? No,
I don't think so. I think we can jump
I'll just I'll mirror what you said about Toni Collette. She was absolutely fantastic in this role. She was incredible. I would say even award worthy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, hell, there's a moment, the argument that she has with her son, Alex Wolff, at the dinner table. That alone, coupled with where she's like pleading with Gabriel Byrne's character towards the end there. I mean, those two alone, Jesus.
What did she say? She said something funny in that argument with her son. Something about sitting there with his face.
Oh, you have your face on your face.
Yeah, you have your face on your face.
That face on your face. I forgot that was funny.
There was, I mean, it wasn't completely devoid of humor either. Like this movie did have some humorous moments to it. Usually that was in the form of Toni Collette's reaction to some of the things that were happening. The scene when she goes to the seance where she goes to Ann Dowd's house and witnesses it for the first time, her reaction to everything. I was like thinking to myself, yeah, that's exactly how I would react.
Yep.
In that,
she's just like, moment. I'm sorry. It just grabs her back. I have to leave. I mean, that did feel really natural.
All right, let's go ahead and give this a score, and then we'll talk some spoilers, and then what I'll do is put it at the very end of the show. I think sometimes we put it in the middle and just note the time code, but I think that some people may not see that. So just to make it easier on everybody, we'll put it at the very end of the show. That way there's no, accidentally listening.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to give Hereditary an 8 out of 10.
All right. I'll give it a 6.
All right. That's not horrible. I'm still disappointed.
I'm sorry. Sorry to let you down.
All right. Hereditary's playing. Hereditary's playing now. I want you to love things, Kevin.
I know you
Is that
do.
too much to ask?
I want to too. Sorry.
Hereditary's playing now in theaters. Go check it out. Let's talk about someone we've been watching on the watch list.
Mm-hmm.
I got a number of things. I'm covering a couple different film festivals right now, so I can talk about some of the things. Some of the things I can't talk about just yet. But I did watch a movie from 1984 called Dreams Come True. Now,
Yes.
this is one that we talked about on Ryan Watches Movie. This is directed by Max Kamanowitz. It's a trauma movie, but it was like an early trauma movie, and I thought maybe it's not going to be your typical trauma movie, and it's not really. It's odd. So the movie is about this guy who discovers that he can astral project, and he meets this woman as he's astral projecting one night when he's asleep, and finds out that she can do it too. So the two of them sort of form a relationship, and they start dating each other, and they're like making love on this astral plane or whatever, and they start doing stuff. Like they realize, like, okay, we can do all kinds of crazy stuff when we astral project. Like we can go to a pizza shop and steal a bunch of pizzas and eat them, and get away with it. And that's sort of the first problem. It's like they learn that they can astral project. They can go anywhere they want in the entire world when they're asleep. And it's like the physical world. So they can go do whatever they want and then just go back to their body. But they don't do anything interesting with it. Like they don't do anything cool. They just go get pizza and go to we go to like a mini golf place or something. It's so
serious?
stupid. Yeah. And I was thinking like, oh man, this is going to be like kind of a sexploitation film, judging from that cover. But it's not really. It's really tame. There's no nudity. And oddly, so there's two versions of this that you can stream. I think it's the same version. So there's one on Amazon Prime and then one on YouTube. And oddly, both versions are edited where anytime somebody says like shit or any swear words at all, they don't bleep it, but they muffle it like it's a rap song where they just kind of blank out that word.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's another version of this that's an R-rated version, but the version that's available for streaming is incredibly boring and stupid, and I can't recommend Dreams Come True.
Oh man,
I think it's a cool idea, but
it's crazy because when we first learned about that and I read that synopsis, the furthest thing from my mind would be, okay, while these two people astral project, they get pizza. Like, why would you make that movie?
It's bad. It's really bad and incredibly dumb.
Because essentially, when you astral project, I mean, the possibilities are endless. You can do anything you want in a movie.
Yeah, like they do go to, I feel like they go to Paris or Italy once. I think they go to Paris. But that's really it. That's kind of all they do.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think the guy robs a bank too. Like he steals a bunch of money because he loses his job.
Because he's too busy astral projection, gorging pizza. Like sleeping. Yeah. He's just sleeping all the time so he can astral project.
But it also transcends time too. So like, for instance, when he first does it, he like projects himself to the next day at his work, and he sees one of his coworkers get in an accident.
Stop
and
it.
Then the next day that happens.
Stop it. So you're telling me he can time travel, and instead of doing any of those things,
he goes to work.
Pizza. And he goes to work.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
Good.
bad. It's bad. Avoid.
I saw The Post.
Oh yeah.
Steven Spielberg. The Post. I hate when this happens. This is one of those. I don't know if people still have DVDs from Netflix, but this was like number 12 on my list, and somehow I got it. Like, I don't know how that happens. Like, if everything just beforehand was like they don't have it anymore or something.
Man, DVDs are a hot commodity. They're just they can't keep them on the shelves.
And like, I have it so far down on the list because I didn't want it, but somehow I still got it. And all I can think of is, like, why is this a movie? I don't like. It's so incredibly basic. It's not that it's not poorly made. I mean, it's fine. There's some really odd things that he does in that he makes Meryl Streep, her character that, you know, owns the paper, Kay Graham, he takes it a bit too far. Like, it exaggerates like her ineptitude, I guess, where she's just like super timid and scared and just, oh God, I can't do anything. Men, help me. I just like to get the point across, you know what I mean? Where it sounds so much to get the point across that it's kind of laughable. Really the only thing that worked for me was the Bob Odenkirk. I mean, that was great. But I mean, it's just constantly being like, if Nixon's attacking our First Amendment, you know, we have to protect it. And it's just like, oh, why? Why did we make this a film? All these people. Such a waste of money, it seems like.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I don't know if it necessarily was a story that needed to be told in film form.
That's what I mean. Like, it's not like bad. It's just, it's so unnecessary.
What was the one that came out a year prior? The one with Michael Keaton? I can't remember the name of that.
Oh.
But
Spotlight?
Spotlight.
Are you talking about Spotlight?
Yeah, Spotlight.
Yeah, Spotlight. And I really didn't like Spotlight too much, but man, that was much better than this was.
Spotlight was better.
Like, this is like working on like a 6th grade reading comprehension level.
Harsh words about the Spielberg flick there.
It's just, man, it is bad. Just bad. Oh, also, Tracy Letts was pretty good.
Yeah.
Becoming a big fan of Tracy Letts acting.
Yeah, I'm a fan too. I saw Hotel Artemis. This is the one that came out this weekend, directed by Drew Pearce. Another case of a good idea that just didn't really pan out. So I'm sure that you're all familiar with this film, but if you're not, the premise is that it's a secret underground, well, not underground, but metaphorically underground hospital that criminals go to get patched up and heal with no questions asked. It's run by Jodie Foster, and she has these very specific rules that everyone abides by. Like, when they first come in, they have to be members of the hospital. They have to discard all their weapons, and like, no guests are allowed, no yelling at the staff, very specific rules, no fighting and whatnot. And so Sterling K. Brown plays this bank robber who things go awry, and his brother, who's played by Brian Tyree Henry, who I love, from Atlanta, he gets injured, and they end up in the hospital, and they find out that one of the things they stole were these diamonds from this sort of organized crime boss played by Jeff Goldblum, and he is huge. He basically owns all of Los Angeles, including the Artemis. And as it turns out, he gets injured and ends up in the hospital as well. And things go horribly bad for a lot of people. And I think that this is a case of too much plot. I think that if you took this idea and just let that idea ride, it would have been a really interesting, fun time where you would have all of these like crazy clients coming in with different injuries and just the chaos of a hospital, and the fact that Jodie Foster is essentially running this hospital by herself with Dave Bautista, who plays her orderly. Mm-hmm. Just the two of them, you know, fixing people up, and then new people coming in, and then patients that are healing are conflicting with each other, and they're having their own problems and stuff. I think that in and of itself would make for an interesting movie, but you add in all of these other elements. Like, so, you know, it turns out that maybe Jeff Goldblum was lying about something in Jodie Foster's past. And this is brought up because Jenny Slate shows up, and she is a police officer who gets injured, and she knows about the hospital because of her past with Jodie Foster. So then there's like all of this sort of backstory and all of these things that are sort of interconnected that is supposed to lend itself to this broader narrative. But the thing is, none of it is that compelling. Mm-hmm. And then you have all these sort of side characters, like Zachary Quinto, he's like a nothing of a character. They don't really do much with him. And then you have Charlie Day, who is, I would say, annoying at best. He's another patient, but at least, you know, he adds some variety to it, I guess. And I can't remember her name. Sophia Boutella. She's great in it. And she plays this like assassin character who's also there due to an injury. She's there as a patient. And then you have like just all these backstories, like, oh, it turns out that Sophia Boutella's character has a past with Sterling K. Brown's character, and they seem like they might have been a thing at one point. So they have this personal connection with each other, and that comes into play later. And it's like, it's an interesting world that they have this set in, but all of these dangling plots just don't really amount to much. Like, there's really only one action scene, and you see it in the trailer. It's this scene that happens in a hallway. It's like this big fight scene, and that scene's great, but you don't really get much more other than that. There might be one other thing that happens, a short sort of fight sequence, but again, that doesn't really add up to much. And I just felt like they didn't really capitalize on what could be a cool premise. It felt like, you know, they saw the writers of this saw John Wick, and they were like, "Oh man, that's cool! Like the idea of this high tech underground criminal hotel. Like let's make a movie about that. But let's make it a hospital." And that's sort of what it is, and they just don't do much with it. So unfortunately, I can't recommend Hotel Artemis. Even though, I mean, everybody does a great job, everybody involved with it. Yeah. I liked Jodie Foster's character a lot. She has this like interesting little kind of like old lady walk that she does down the halls and stuff. And she's a compelling character, but yeah, not too into the movie in general.
I was able to see one good movie. I won't, talk about it too much, but that's Coco. I think majority of people have already seen this.
I haven't seen it, but...
Oh, you haven't seen it yet? Okay. Well, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that it was on Netflix, but I don't know, man.
I never really had an interest in it either. Popped up on Netflix, and I was like, okay, it's, good Sunday. Sunday afternoon movie. Let's do it. And I was actually quite taken by it. I was quite surprised.
I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, like I love the animation. I love the story. I was actually like, there's like a twist that happens that I actually didn't see coming and kind of caught me off guard. I thought it was great. You know, the story and where they go, like the world that they build and everything was just, I thought it was actually pretty impressive.
You know, it's funny, like often when a Pixar movie comes out, I will think the same thing, like, I'm not interested in that. It doesn't look great. And then eventually I'll see it and I'll be like, I loved it. You know, like that's kind of how I am with a lot of the Pixar stuff.
Yeah, I don't like, I honestly, I remember like when this movie came out and I was like, oh, cool, that's cool. You know, that's interesting. But I never really had like a real want to see it. So then, you know, it pops up on Netflix. It's like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I was surprised. I didn't think I would like it this much, actually. But, man, if you haven't seen Coco, see Coco. Do it.
Coco. Recommendation from Kevin. Kevin recommends Coco. All right.
Surprise. Hereditary? No. Post? No. Coco. There you go. Stay in. Save yourself some money.
I'm covering Dances with Films right now, so that just started up on Friday. So I saw a couple things that I can't talk about just yet, but I did see two things that I can talk about thus far. One was the opening night film that's called No Alternative. Now, this is directed by William Dickerson, who we've had on the show, actually. He's been on the show twice, I think, over the years. A while back, we covered, it was early in the life of Film Pulse that we covered his movie Detour, which was this little sort of containment thriller, as I call them, about a guy who's in a car and gets caught in a mudslide, and he gets trapped in his car after a mudslide. And I really enjoyed that movie. And he's back with a new movie called No Alternative. And it takes place in the 90s, 1994, I believe. And it is I would call it I wouldn't call it a biographical film, but it's based on, it's based on his life and his relationship with his sister. So it's this coming of age story about a brother and sister growing up in New York in the early 90s, and the both of them are suffering mental illness. They both have depression. The son, who's the brother who's older, has no apparent symptoms of it, but their parents tell them that he struggled with it as a very young boy. The sister, on the other hand, she's heavily medicated, and she has these like awful mood swings, and she's dealing with a lot of just inner turmoil. And the brother sort of gets into the grunge thing. He forms a band and he's really into that scene. The sister gets into underground hip hop, and she decides that the best way for her to express herself is through music. So she creates this alter ego and starts doing hip hop shows and rapping. And it's interesting, like the William Dickerson's sister in real life, this is what she did. And he actually uses the songs that she made in the movie. And it's quite good. I enjoyed it. I would give it a light recommend. I have a review up on the site. It went to some places that I didn't think were necessarily earned, but it is still a pretty solid coming of age story nonetheless. And again, that's called No Alternative. It's playing at Dances with Films right now. I don't know if it has a wider release date yet. Mm-hmm. And then the other movie I saw, which I'll only touch on, is called Till Death. The reason I'm only going to briefly touch on is because I didn't like it. This is directed by Matt Eames. It's a black and white thriller about this woman who, her husband is sick. He's on his deathbed. She calls in this doctor to help with it. I believe they don't say it, but they sort of allude to that this doctor is kind of helping him die. I think the doctor basically killed him. But then she ends up falling for this doctor. They get married, but he is an absolute monster. Like, he is so overbearing and so just tyrannical of her that their marriage quickly sours, and she suspects that he's cheating on her. And it seems like he kind of realizes, like, oh man, she's probably going to leave me. So what he does is he blinds her. He poisons her contact lens solution, causing her to go blind. And she sort of suspects that he's the one that did it. She's not quite sure at first, but then he decides, you know what, I'm just going to kill her, which is like kind of the first problem I had with this movie. It's like, okay, well, you want to keep her around so bad that you decide to blind her so she doesn't leave you, so she needs you. But then you're just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to kill her. So he tries to set up these things around the house that would kill her. Like, he puts a golf ball on the stairs so she would fall down it, but she finds it. Like, she seems to have these almost Daredevil-like blindness powers.
Because she got everything. All her other sense got heightened.
They don't say that, like they don't show that in the movie or anything, but I mean, it definitely seems that way, because some of the stuff that she does, you're just like, all right, come on now, that's a little too much. But so she decides, after she finds out, or after she sort of she believes that he's trying to kill her. She has no proof of this, but she decides she's going to get the upper hand and take care of him first. So the rest of the movie is her figuring out how she's going to kill him and then what to do and all of that stuff as a blind person, which, cool idea, but it just doesn't really go anywhere with it, unfortunately. And a lot of it felt very amateurish. I know that's harsh to say, but it felt very much like a student film. To me, there was this odd voiceover narration from the guy, like from the doctor, throughout maybe half the movie, and then it just ended.
Not a choice.
Yeah, and then it just ended, and then we switched perspectives to the wife. But it's like, okay, well, if the movie's about the wife and the horrible shit that she went through and all of this stuff, then why are we even wasting time listening to the ramblings of this asshole? Like, it added nothing to the story. We don't need to include that. If she's the protagonist, if we're seeing her story, then let's stick with her and let's not try to force some sort of weird attachment to this guy and try to develop his character through this voiceover. I think that, like, the voiceover was probably designed to make us understand him better and hate him more, but we didn't need that because we already hated him. Like, because he does, and it's just the decision making in this movie, like some of the stuff that they do is so odd, and the black and white doesn't really work at times. Like, there's a lot of these kind of establishing shots and things that look really good, especially for the location that it's in. It's in this kind of beach community, but it's always kind of foggy and hazy, and it looks really good in black and white. But then there's other times where the lighting just feels really off, where things are too dark, like things are darkened that probably shouldn't be, and you're having a hard time seeing what's going on. And it almost feels like the movie was not originally going to be in black and white, and they decided to make it black and white in post. Because you have to light things completely different if you're going to be making it black and white. And it just didn't feel, it was just a messy movie. And I that one really didn't do it for me. But at any rate, if you want to keep a lookout for it, it's called Till Death. Anything else on your list?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Let's move on and talk about some new releases that are coming out in theaters this week. We got Superfly coming out. Not too into this one.
Mm-mm.
I don't think anything that's directed by a guy named Director X. I just don't know if I can get behind that. Director X.
Are you intimidated by Director X?
Director X. Got The Incredibles 2 coming out. Big, speaking of Pixar, big release here. It's been a long time since the first Incredibles. And again, this is one that I'm just like, it doesn't really interest me.
Yeah, but I mean, for me at least, the first Incredibles I was kind of on.
Me too. I wasn't.
I thought it was all right. I didn't quite see what everyone else was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when it came out, I wasn't interested in it. I didn't catch it until after it hit. I don't think I saw it probably within the first 2 or 3 years that it came out. But then finally I watched it one day and I was like, that's pretty good. You know, it's not. It didn't blow me away or anything, but this one again, I'm sure that I will like it. I'm sure that I'll see it at some point, but it's really not anything that I'm clamoring to see. Speaking of which, we also have Tag. This is the upcoming comedy with Ed Helms and John Hamm and Jeremy Renner and Jake Johnson and Hannibal Buress.
No.
Good cast. Movie itself, not really. You know, it's about a group of friends who've been playing the same game of tag for like 15 years or something. It's based on a true story, but
that's just stupid.
Yeah, not too into that. We also have Gotti. This is the John Travolta biopic about John Gotti.
No, thank you.
Nope, not into that either. Got Loving Pablo. This is with Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz.
What's that about?
Pablo Escobar.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Javier Bardem plays Pablo Escobar. I feel like we've had enough Pablo Escobar stories.
Yes.
I think the one on Netflix, the series is it Narcos? Is that the name?
Something
the one on Netflix is fantastic, and I feel like that's the only one you need. All right, what else we got here? We got The Year of Spectacular Men. I think that's a like a coming of age story. It's directed by Leah Thompson.
Okay.
No opinion on that one. I don't know. That's pretty much it for theaters. Let's take a look at VOD. On the 12th, we have Vidar the Vampire, which is a vampire comedy. It is comparing itself to What We Do in the Shadows, which probably is not a good idea.
No, I would not do that.
No.
Bad move.
Not into that. Got Apocalypse Rising. I love the poster for this one. I think it was Chris that pointed it out, one of our writers, that the poster, he's wearing a necklace of skulls, but the size of the skulls does not match his body if they're supposed to be adult skulls. So you can only assume that he is wearing a skull necklace of babies. He's wearing a baby skull necklace. Yeah. So Apocalypse Rising, not into that. It looks like some sort of Mad Max type ripoff thing. We got Guilty Men. Not too familiar with that. Looks like a thriller. It's like a modern Western style thriller, maybe. Got Jurassic Games. That win the games, win your freedom.
There you go.
Enough said. Got Night of the Virgin. Evil has no gender. Evil has no gender, Kevin.
Evil has no gender.
Horror movie.
I gotta look that one up.
It looks like it's about a guy who is determined to lose his virginity and follows home a woman. Only one problem. Instead of celebratory sex, he receives an intense lecture about a Nepalese goddess, Naoshi, and finds a cup of menstrual blood in the bathroom. Things go from perverse to worse.
Okay.
When Medea's jealous boyfriend arrives, trapping Nico in an apartment with the steadily growing suspicion that Naoshi is no myth.
Ooh.
I might give this a look, actually. Doesn't seem that bad.
No, that actually sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah. Then on June 15th, we have Set It Up, which is on Netflix. It's a romantic comedy. It's about these two office assistants who their bosses just make their lives utter hell. So they decide, you know what? We're going to set up our bosses to start dating each other, and then that'll let us off the hook for some reason. Because they'll be so distracted and happy and in love.
Yeah.
But then guess what happens? The two assistants fall for each other.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, looks very Netflix.
Unexpected things always happening.
Yep.
Wow. That's wild.
Yep, Blu-ray this week. We got Tomb Raider. This is the new one.
All right.
Man, that was a manila folder, that movie. Just bland as all hell. Nothing interesting going on there, so I probably wouldn't recommend that. Scream Factory is releasing Ninja 3: The Domination from 1984. Amazing cover. Love the cover on that. Ninja 3. The Strangers Pray at Night is coming out. Still not quite sure if that's like a remake or a sequel of that series or what. I might give it a look. We got Love, Simon. I actually heard that was pretty good, but I'm still not too interested in it. Let's see what else we got here. The Darkman trilogy is coming out on Blu-ray. I haven't watched a Darkman movie in so long. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen the second or third one. Might have to give that a look. We got Vigil. Arrow is putting this out. This is from 1984. We should have a review for this one up on the site. Got the Humanity Bureau. This is the Nick Cage one. Looks pretty bad. We got the Jurassic Dead coming out.
Jesus Christ.
A lot of these dinosaur movies coming out, trying to capitalize on the new Jurassic World movie. That's pretty much it. What do we have as far as criterions this week?
We have one, and this one's good. I mean, kind of a surprise. I like when Criterion does this kind of thing and branches out. That's Lino Brocca's Manila and the Claws of Light from 1975, Filipino movie. So, getting some Filipino cinema in the Criterion from 1975.
Very nice.
Watch out.
I like that.
Getting away from the standard Europe.
Yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can send us your questions and topics to feedback@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. If you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse. Consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. Hey, we'll see you next week. All right, let's talk some spoilers for Hereditary. So the big thing, the culminating moment happens towards the end. And like I said earlier, they give you little clues. They sprinkle in things here and there. Like she finds the book that was her mom's, the spiritual book, but she doesn't really pay it any mind. Which, by the way, if I found that in, one of my dead relatives' belongings, I'd be looking through it immediately.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what is this? They were into like the occult and stuff? What's going on here? This is interesting.
I do think it's odd that like the one book that she looks at is just like notes on spiritualism, where it's like, oh, okay, that seems kind of innocent. People are into spiritualism. But then like the other books are like fucking occult shit. Like that seems a bit different than spiritualism. And
I think, am I misremembering? Like things are either circled or highlighted.
Oh,
like certain passages.
She's got shit highlighted.
She's like noting the stuff up, and I'm like, all right, well, definitely something's going on here. And then there's like that's the triangle, like the symbols written on the floor and the house and stuff.
Yeah.
And then also like one of the other kind of creepy clue things is, she's talking to her daughter, and she mentions that she never let her mom have any kind of contact with the son. But then she did with the daughter. And then the daughter, there's one scene where the daughter says, grandma wanted me to be a boy. And then you see that one like diorama that she made with the grandmother with her breast out.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, I don't know what she was trying to do. Feed the daughter? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm not 100%
you see that, you see that, and you're just like, oh man, something weird is going on here. I mean, I think pretty early on you can sort of put together that there is some kind of devil cult.
Oh yeah,
stuff going on.
And that's the thing that kind of bothered me a little bit, was when she's like in that the support group or whatever. And she's kind of going through like her life and everything, and then you get in this sense of like, oh, this family has like a rich history of mental illness. Like, okay, and then to just use that as an excuse to take the turn that you do, just to me it was a little gross to me. It was a little off-putting.
Yeah, but the whole mental illness thing comes into question when you have to.
Well, that's what I mean.
Look at the son who they thought was schizophrenic because they said that the mom wanted to put people inside of her, but we later find out that he was actually probably correct, that she was trying to put.
Yeah.
What's the demon's name? I can't even remember.
Oh man.
Like
Payman.
Payman. Yeah.
Payman. He's like the eighth king. I don't know, the eighth king of hell. I don't know why they have that many kings. Seems kind of ridiculous.
Well, it's probably a big place. Probably a lot of people.
I know, but still 8 kings. Jesus.
There's probably different areas. They rule over different lands of hell.
That's true. I wonder if they like each have like their own defining thing.
Oh, there's probably a whole government set up down there. It's probably
a fucking nightmare too.
I would imagine.
Nightmare.
I would imagine.
Dude.
So we
just getting into the governing of hell. Let's go down that rabbit hole. Like, no actual torturing gets done because it's just a bureaucratic nightmare.
Yeah. Just fill out all these forms and bogged down with paperwork, and this department thinks that they should be responsible for this, but the other department thinks they should be responsible, and it's just nonstop gridlock.
Sounds about right. That sounds like hell.
Yeah. It does seem fitting. So we find out that the mother was involved with this cult. She sort of she creates this pact. She wants to resurrect this eighth king of hell, so that she can get riches and
gonna be showered in riches, and have all of her wishes come true. But then she dies, and so the cult
decides to pick up where she left off, and so they were able to resurrect the demon, but they put it inside the daughter. He didn't like that. No. He didn't like being in the girl, the 13-year-old girl. So they were like, all right, we got to get rid of the girl, put it in the boy, put it in the son, Peter.
Yeah.
And then as a result, it's never explicitly said or shown, but I think it's safe to assume that they facilitated the death of Charlie.
I mean, that was something that was, I guess just keeping that shit vague. Like, not only Charlie, but also, like, the mother, Toni Collette. Like, okay. Like, is that...
Well, I think...
Is that something that King Payman needs? He needs some sacrifices or something?
I think that when Toni Collette... Okay, so let's...
Headless worshippers.
I think the cult conjured something, maybe that animal in the road, to make Peter swerve and cause the horrific, violent death of his sister. She had her head out the window because she was having an allergic reaction to some nuts that she consumed at a party.
Which, by the way, I mean, if she's that allergic, why are they so careless with the EpiPen? It just seemed...
You think that they would definitely...
They never had the EpiPen. Never.
Yeah, you would think that they would definitely have it in the car.
You think that shit would be on a fucking lanyard around her neck if it's that bad.
Yeah, so she ends up being decapitated because there was an animal in the middle of the road. He swerves, gets too close to a light pole. She gets decapitated. Yeah. And he instantly goes into shock and drives home and leaves the body in the back of the car and just goes to bed. Mm-hmm. And then Toni Collette's character finds her body in the morning, and they cut away to the head, which is absolutely horrific.
That was the thing that kind of got me a little bit. Again, something that was just a little bit gross to me, a little off-putting. It's just like, come on now, it's fucking cheap.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Cheap tactics, Ari Aster. And then you got I didn't really think about Gabriel Byrne's character too much, but since you kind of pointed out, where she's just fucking losing it, and he's just like, it's okay, it's all right, like rubbing her back. It's just like, dude, your daughter was decapitated.
I think that there's one scene later on when he just like fucking loses it in the car.
Yeah.
And I think that's to show that he was just kind of bottling everything up, and finally he just let it go when he was in the car there. But so then her death, I guess, released the demon, and then Andal does the seance or whatever to bring it back, and then they need to get, after it's back, they need to get it inside of Peter, which they later do through, I don't know if they had to get him in like a vulnerable state to
which that should have been pretty easy.
Get it.
I think immediately after she was decapitated, the demon could have just popped right over, I think.
Yeah, they fuck with him for a while too, which the sequences that were in the school, you see one of them, actually the one that's in the trailer, I think is a mixture of two scenes that occur in the school, but the one is pretty intense when it sort of grabs him and lifts him up and slams him on the desk. It's pretty creepy. Kevin's just like, this shit doesn't scare me, pussies.
It's not that. I don't know. It just didn't, to me, it didn't seem all that creative. You know how they have the reflection of the smiling him when he's not smiling.
He his distorted face and his arm like all twisted and like sticking in the air.
It
didn't
seems,
do it for you.
I don't know. It just seems like things are kind of like everyone's kind of utilizing the same things in horror movies.
Did you see The Conjuring? Did you ever get around to seeing that one?
I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah.
And you weren't a fan of that one either.
No,
were you?
that was garbage. This is better than that, though.
Yeah, it is, but I feel like, it sort of plays around with some of the same themes.
Well, there's always that, like, a demon takes hold of the body and contorts it and, like, snaps arms and stuff. And it's just like, I've seen that in I don't know how many movies now.
Yeah.
That's why I like when it got to the end, that's when I was like, here you go. Here's an original thing going on. This is nuts.
So you get to the end, Toni Collette is completely lost it at this point, and she believes that this notebook that Charlie wrote in, which was used to what she thought bring her back. Yeah. She decides that she wants to burn it thereby severing the tie and sending her back, but that doesn't really work out. She throws it like the first time she tries to do it, it lights her on fire.
Yeah,
and
which is again like that. Which is that movie? What was that movie that just came out with the smiling people and they try and burn a photo, but it lights them on fire too?
That was Truth or Dare, wasn't it?
Yeah. See, that's the thing I'm talking about. It seems like everyone's doing the same thing at the same time.
I imagine that this did it better than Truth or Dare, but
I'm sure. I'm not going to find out. I tell you that.
Yeah, I'm not going to see that one either. The second time she throws it in, it ignites Gabriel Byrne on fire, and he unfortunately he succumbs to the flames.
He hasn't been doing anything really.
I like how when she puts it in, it just like slightly catches her arm on fire. But when she puts it in again, it completely engulfs him from head to toe in flames. Like, why didn't it just catch his arm on fire? Why didn't he get a break there? They're like, fuck that guy.
Nah, because they put lighter fluid all over.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she doused it.
He was done. He was done.
Yeah. So after she does that, she gets possessed. Now, I don't think that the demon, I don't think like Payman or whatever, I don't know if he went into her or if he had something else go into her or if he was just controlling her like remotely.
Yeah, who knows?
I'm not sure what happened, but she definitely got possessed by something.
It was just an excuse for her to like hang out in the old ceiling corner.
Yeah, like she started floating and crawling on the ceiling and
doing that stuff.
She got which then leads to like it turns out that the grandmother's body gets exhumed and has her head cut off, and
give me a fucking break.
the body is being stored in the attic.
You got flies too. Every horror movie seems to have flies now.
Well, bodies attract flies, Kevin.
Well, the body's
just a natural
also.
thing.
I mean, they make one thing of it where they're like, God, what's that smell? You have a fucking decaying body. Okay, someone dug that shit up, put it in your fucking attic. It's been like a month since you had the funeral. Like, you would smell that shit all the time. That wouldn't just be a come home one day and be like, God, what's that smell? And then move on with your life. That would be an all-encompassing thing. Like, you wouldn't be able to eat. You wouldn't be able to sleep. There's a decaying body in your attic.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, their dining room's downstairs. The attic is up.
Come on now.
Above the second floor. You know, I don't know. Maybe the house is big enough that smell wouldn't permeate through the whole place.
Sure.
We don't know the logistics of the rotting corpse smell.
Sure.
Anyway, Peter goes up there, and his mom's up there, which results in one of the most disturbing scenes, I think, of the film, where she cuts her own head off with the piano wire type thing. Oh, yeah. That scene is that's difficult to watch. That one, just the sound, reminds me of Audition. It's like Audition. The sound of the piano wire, the
she's determined to it seems as though it's like a race against the clock too. Like she only has like 10 seconds to do it or something.
For some reason, the inconsistent pattern with which she does it makes it more effective. So she'll do it like real fast. She'll be like, and then she'll like slow it down a little bit. So she'll get in there real slow, and then she'll maybe stop for a second and then do it again. And you're just like, oh my God, it's never going to end.
Another thing that I didn't like, because again, this seems like something that's just been repeated constantly, is like older cult members just being naked for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's like
naked. Like, why is that always a thing?
Yeah, that's like a Satanist thing. Like they're always
such a dumb fucking thing.
I think they do that in real life too. Like Satanists, they love just hanging out with their genitals, hang all over the place.
I don't know.
Old naked people are creepy though. Like I think that's really the crux of it. When you see an old naked person standing in the corner of your darkened room,
I think if creepy. You saw a naked person, regardless of age, standing in a dark corner of your room, I think that would be creepy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but old people make it creepier though. The fact that they're old makes it more creepy. Anyway, it turns out so he tries to escape. He jumps through the window in the attic, lands on the ground. That gives the demon an opportunity to go inside of him, and then he goes up into the treehouse, Charlie's treehouse, and they have this like little shrine set up. So they have the grandmother's decapitated corpse, Tony Collette's decapitated corpse, and they're like kneeled down. And then there's this like shrine that has Charlie's severed head with this like crown on it. And then Ann Dowd's up there with the other naked cult members. And we find out that, he is now this demon. And that's pretty much it. It's the end of the movie.
They brought him back.
Brought the demon back.
What then happens to like his kingdom in hell while he's gone? Who's ruling the 8th province? Is it a state? Is it a province? Region?
I don't know.
An empire?
Maybe they're progressive and the queen took over.
I guess maybe.
She assumed duties for him when he's taking his pilgrimage to our mortal coil.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do here now. Didn't seem like he was doing anything. I don't know.
You just hated this movie.
But fucking, it got so interesting at the end, but it took forever to get there. By the time it did, it's just like, oh, thank God. Finally doing something.
Any other spoilers before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
The way that the trailers set things up, they make you think that they let you know that the grandma passes away. That's sort of the catalyst for all of this. So that going into it. But in the trailers, they sort of make you think that the creepy daughter, is behind something. Like the grandmother is manipulating her, possibly possessing her. And you think this is going to be like a demon child situation. But when they kill her, like in the first act, I was really shocked.
I was a little bit, I was shocked too, I gotta say. Because I mean, the way the trailer sets it up is you think that she's the key to this. And I mean, she kind of is, but not, you didn't think you thought, or at least I did, I thought she would be there until the end of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I think either way, this is a great debut. This is from Ari Aster.
I mean, for a debut, it is definitely of note.
All right, there you have it. That's Hereditary.